the Commander's Day Air Show at Grissom Air Force Base, a two-day event that showcased the pride and professionalism of our fighting forces. 1992 was special, as it marked Grissom's golden anniversary.
I'm Colonel Mark Trincon, commander of the 305th Air Refueling Wing, Grissom Air Force Base, Indiana. And I'm here to welcome you to Grissom's commemorative Commander's Day Air Show 1992. It's a great pleasure for us to host the public and open our gates once a year to show the public what they pay for in their military.
The air show was also a perfect opportunity to witness the skills and talents of our military personnel. We'd fly with an A-10 Thunderbolt team, tour one of Grissom's own KC-135 air refueling tankers, take to the skies in an F-16 Fighting Falcon and experience the flight through the unique perspective of the HUD camera, the heads-up display. We'd get a rare, up-close look at the F-117A and learn some of the secrets of the mysterious stealth fighter. Behind the scenes, we'd watch the crew of the Blue Angels prepare their C-130 for a dramatic jet-assisted takeoff.
I'm okay, ready?
And finally, we'd thrill to the death-defying exploits of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels.
We have the cream of the crop, I think you would say, here at Grissom for this two-day weekend in August. It's a great pleasure to have the public here. We have, I think, around 150,000 people total for the 2 days. This is our way of opening our gates to the public once a year, but it would not be possible if it weren't for some 800 to 1,000 people from the 305th Air Refueling Wing, and many of them, their spouses as well, that it takes every day to make this event go, and my thanks to them.
Our thanks go out to the pilots and crew who made Grissom's 50th anniversary air show such a success. Through their own words, we learned more about the aircraft and shared in the pride and dedication that is the spirit of the United States of America.
I'm Sergeant First Class Paul Guerra with the U.S. Army Parachute Team, the Golden Knights. I've been with the team now for 3.5 years. I've been the team leader for 3. The team itself started its existence in 1959. The team on a yearly basis will make approximately 110 to 150 jumps at different show sites throughout the nation. The fourth and final maneuver of the full show is the diamond formation. This is where 4 jumpers will actually exit the aircraft. We'll have 2 in this door, 2 on the door on the other side. The exit takes place. The jumpers at that time form a diamond in the sky, the team leader facing the target, then you have the 2 wingmen and of course the slot flyer. With predetermined signals from the team leader, the other 3 flyers will close onto the team leader, maintain a really tight diamond formation. Actually, the jumpers will fly about 3 to 4 to 6 inches from one another, never actually taking contact or grabbing hold of each other. Everything's free-flown. The tight diamond stays in place till about 4,500 feet. At that time, the team leader gives a signal to break apart, and all 4 jumpers will streak to the 4 points of the compass. And then again, with a signal, open their parachutes from the team leader, and then all 4 land on target.
And bingo, another dead center target landing.
I'm Captain Ward Motes, 45th Fighter Squadron, United States Air Force Reserves here at Grissom Air Force Base in Indiana. And I've been flying in the reserves for about 9 years. Got about 1,000 hours in the A-10. At the beginning of the aircraft, that's the business end, you see the cannon sticking out. It's a 7-barrel, 30-millimeter Gatling gun. Fires depleted uranium, high explosive incendiary and armor-piercing bullets at a rate of about 4,200 rounds per minute. A 1-second squeeze on the trigger gives you about a burst of 50 to 75 rounds, and it's a very accurate and very deadly gun. The gun itself actually goes about back to where the star is, and it's about the size of an automobile in length. The aircraft was built around the gun because it is such a deadly weapon. The pilot sits in the cockpit, which is surrounded by a titanium bathtub, which protects him and the critical flight controls from any kind of any aircraft fire or missile hits. The titanium protects him from as much as a direct 23-millimeter hit has been shown, and keeps the pilot alive, keeps the flight controls from being damaged, gets the airplane back again if the airplane does take some hits. The whole aircraft is designed to take quite a lot of punishment. The engines are up and apart and separated so that if one engine is hit and explodes, it won't take out the other engine. We can always come back on the single engine. It showed over in Desert Storm that we had a bunch of airplanes come back with holes in them the size of almost a doorway. System shot out, tires blown off, and the aircraft came back. The pilot came home safe, and within 2 or 3 days, the ground crews would patch the thing up, and it'd be back flying in the war again. It's quite an amazing aircraft. We're sitting inside of the cockpit of the A-10. Basically, a pretty old-fashioned design aircraft. It's a very simple design. Not a lot of electronic computer screens and so on inside the aircraft. It was designed in the late 70s, basically to be a very cheap ground attack fighter, so it was kept very basic. The flight controls are laid out just as they would be in most any other aircraft. The engine instruments are all gauged together over here so you can tell exactly what your engines are doing. This little TV screen right over here is for the Maverick missile, which we use to lock on to targets using a TV camera inside the missile's head. The heads-up display up here gives us all our weapons parameters, our airspeed parameters, so that we don't have to be looking inside the aircraft when we're actually flying against a target area. It tells us everything we need to know right up here on the heads-up display.
My name is Kurt Gerten. I've been in the 45th here since 1973. Been flying militarily since 72. I'll be retiring militarily from the reserves after almost 24 years in the reserves. Before any air show, it's like going on stage. You've got butterflies and you're thinking about a lot of things. I'm thinking about the other 3 guys that are with me, the timing that's involved today. But once I get in and strap in the airplane and get the engine started, the butterflies just seem to go away and the concentration is there on what we have to do. Okay, bring it in the fingertip, going down to 500 feet. Light airplane below us.
Tower's on 13525.
Coming left a little bit. Coming down just a tad.
Coming from the left, ladies and gentlemen, are the A-10s in fingertip formation.
Very nice.
Okay, power's coming in. Nose is coming up. Okay, tactical.
At this point, number 1 has just given the command, zip gun flight, go tactical. The combat portion of today's mission has begun. At this point, it appears number 1 has sighted the target. He is briefing last-minute attack tactics over the radio and giving the command to arm up the weapons.
One's coming in from the southeast. Crowd should love this part.
Who's coming in?
Number 1 rolls the plane up and over. Behind him, number 2. If the Army is down in the field and calling for help, we want to be there. To demonstrate this, the A-10s have rolled out and are coming around to simulate a low-angle strafe run and also demonstrate the zoom escape capability of the Warthog.
After about 4,000 hours, I guess, military flying, I couldn't ask for a better way to leave. There's only 4 of us, obviously, out of the whole squadron that are fortunate enough to do one of these a year. And especially at the end of a career like this, it's just really a kick for me to be able to do it.
Here comes the KC-135E model roaring down the runway. Watch as it rotates and climbs away. It'll be a pretty aggressive nose-high climb.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Jim Lehman. I'm a pilot for the KC-135, 434th Air Refueling Wing here at Grissom. The 135's primary mission in life is air refueling, in-flight air refueling. And what we have over here is the boom which performs that job. Now, the way you see it right now, it's in a stowed position. When the airplanes come up behind us to be refueled, this boom is down at about a 30-degree angle. When we do our flyover today, you'll be able to see the boom down in the position that it would be for the refueling.
The A-10s are flying close formation off the tanker's wingtips. This is called the observation position, where during air refueling, the fighters receiving gas will wait until it is their turn to hook up. The tanker can pass 3,000 pounds of fuel per minute to the A-10, filling its internal tanks in just over 3 minutes. During a combat mission, the A-10s would plan on refueling 2 or 3 times to increase their time in the combat zone.
What you have here basically is a 15-foot boom, but if you'll notice, there's a pipe within the boom. It extends out another 15 feet. That is what plugs into the receiver, and that little cone you see in the end of that pipe has a spring behind it, and when it makes contact with the receiver, it pushes that cone in, which allows the fuel to come around it and flow into the other airplane. At the very far end of the boom, there's a couple of little windows. That's where the boom operator lays back in the boom pod, and this boom is actually flown by the boom operator.
I'm Staff Sergeant Shad Culp. I'm the boom operator on board the KC-135 today with the 434th Wing. Up on top here you'll see the oxygen we carry on board, but all the refueling is done down below here. Okay, what you're in now is the boom pod. This is where all the air refueling takes place. As you see, the boom operator lays in the middle of the boom pod and has a sighting window here, and this is where he can actually watch and perform all the air refueling. Once the receivers get within a certain distance, they turn the radios over to the boom operator, and the boom operator actually guides the receivers up into the boom, and once the boom operator makes contact, it's pretty much up to the boom operator to keep the boom with the receiver. Up above here are all your gauges that tell you where the boom is actually flying behind the airplane. When it's time to lower the boom and raise the boom, you have a lever here. It's the boom hoist lever, and this will actually bring the boom down or help bring the boom up when you're done with your air refueling. Right here to the right of it, you'll notice is the telescoping lever, and once you've got the boom all lined up and ready to make a contact, you'll use this telescoping lever to make the actual contact.
The important thing to remember is that during the war, when the fighters are taking off to go hit targets, their main concern is carrying as many weapons as they can, which really makes them heavy. Consequently, they can't take off with full fuel loads. So before they go in to hit a target, they require gas. And then after they hit the target, they require gas again. So we kind of think of ourselves as the linemen of the team. Whatever occurs in a war like Desert Storm cannot happen without the tanker. This particular airplane did fly in Desert Storm, and what we have above the crew entry chute here are camels that they stenciled on, which depict the number of sorties that it flew during the war. There's one up here that's upside down, right here. And that signifies the one mission that this airplane came back broke. This kind of is a tribute to our maintenance people because our airplanes are extremely well maintained, and just by looking at that you can tell that it had a real good recovery rate while we were in the war.
And again, here's our very own KC-135.
My name's Captain Scott Shutak, and I've been flying the T-37 for just over 4 years. It's a side-by-side trainer. It's been around since the vintage years of probably about 1958 or so. And I would guess that it has more hours of flying time than nearly anything else that's going to fly today in the air show. It's an aerobatic airplane that we will teach a lot of fundamental skills of basically takeoffs and landings, formation flight, low-level flight, navigation, and some instrument work. It has all the basics, and I think it serves the purpose real well.
At about 65 knots, the lead aircraft will pull back the stick and rotate, and about 90 knots he'll lift off the ground.
One of the most fascinating sights that an instructor pilot usually sees is the look on a brand new officer's face when he jumps into the T-37 simulator for the first time. And if you take a look at all the dials, to a novice or maybe a guy who doesn't have a lot of flying experience, it looks like a lot of knobs and everything, but to be honest with you, it's a very basic airplane.
Here they come now for their first pass. It's a low-speed pass with their gear down and flaps and speed brake out. Very nice, very nice. In the lead is Captain Scott Shutak, and flying the wind position is Captain Tim Moore.
It's a very safe airplane. If the landing gear weren't able to come down, you could land on it, on its belly, and be perfectly safe, I think. More like a tank than it is an airplane. It's very durable. But, of course, it has to put up with several hard landings during the learning phase.
And now the T-37 will come in for a touch and go. Looks like he turned it into a low approach.
When you take this airplane cross country, you got to find neat ways to get all your luggage in. So you can see that it's kind of small up here, but you're able to get a whole bunch of suitcases and luggage in there, anything to keep it legal. And I think there's a record for about 75 lobsters or something like that. I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I'm not sure I'd want to be flying around a live lobster, but there are guys out there that do it, and it's all legal. On a side note, we flew the airplane into a little airport out in Pennsylvania recently, and the airport manager came out and he awarded us with this trophy. And it basically says that we were awarded the ugliest airplane award. So I'm pretty proud of that, and I'll take the ugly airplane over an F-16 any day.
And let's everybody wave to the two T-37s on landing rollout as they come back into the hammerhead.
My name is Staff Sergeant Stephen L. Clem. I'm with the 436 Airlift Wing out of Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. Behind me you'll see a C-5. It's a B model, tail number 6025. It was used extensively during the Persian Gulf War. Some of the more unique features of the C-5 is the capability to kneel or to lower itself upon its own landing gear so you can enable to load and unload more efficiently the cargo. It has the capability to forward kneel with the nose down, level kneel, or aft kneel. We also have the capability for the ramps to go into what we call a truck load bed, which will allow K-loaders from supply to immediately put palletized cargo right on the airplane. Some more of the unique stuff that we have hauled on the C-5 is we've actually hauled submarines, with 6 Greyhound buses, Abrams tanks. It's capable of about 250,000 pounds of cargo. Total gross takeoff weight in peacetime operations will be 649,000 pounds total weight for takeoff. And in contingency, we're allowed to go somewhere around 840,000 pounds.
Ladies and gentlemen, from your left, Captain Rob Kesterson and the F-16 Fighting Falcon. The F-16 has been a part of the United States Air Force for more than a decade. First joining the operational inventory in 1979, it's been on the job around the world, assigned to Air Combat Command and other Air Force units in Europe, the Pacific, our Air Guard and Reserve forces, as well as the air forces of many allied nations.
I'm Captain Rob Kesterson from Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina. The F-16s we have are 1990 models, F-16Cs, Block 42s. So these are some of the newer F-16s in the Air Force inventory. We, unknown to a lot of folks, dropped more bombs than any other airplane in the Gulf War, the F-16s as a whole. In our wing, we had 3 squadrons, basically 75 airplanes, and we dropped over 6.5 million pounds of bombs. The first 2 weeks, mainly in and around the Baghdad area on strategic type targets, and then the last month on the Republican Guard. 24 hours a day, we sort of went down and visited those guys.
As he passes Show Center, he will be traveling over 600 miles per hour.
We're going to take the airplane to war. The typical configuration would be 2 370-gallon fuel tanks on either wing, 2 AIM-9 air-to-air missiles on the wing tips, and then whatever ordnance we were carrying, and the F-16 is capable of carrying all conventional ordnance with the exception of laser-guided munitions. We don't have a laser-guided capability, which is one big reason you didn't see a lot of F-16 video in the Gulf War.
In a dogfight, the ability to turn tight is crucial. Watch now as Captain Kesterson shows you just how exceptional the 9G F-16 is in a high G turn. At Show Center, he will bank sharply into a tight turn capable of pressing the pilot into his seat with a force of 9 times his normal body weight. In the full 360-degree turn, the F-16 has a turn radius of less than 1,400 feet. It's that kind of maneuverability that gives the F-16 its reputation as the most maneuverable fighter in the world today.
On a go-to-war walk-around, one thing that we'd be checking around here is the chaff is loaded on this side, and I'll show you on the other side where we have a position for flares. And basically those are expendables to go against enemy threats, to jam the radars or the heat sources coming off of our airplane for the infrared missiles. On the back of the airplane, these are just static dischargers, basically lightning rods. The airplane builds up when you're flying through clouds a tremendous amount of static electricity, and this just makes sure that it's disposed of properly. Speed brake, you'll see this on the show today. This is what slows us down when we're flying. Obviously, you can't use the wheel brakes. So these things come out as you're flying, create a whole tremendous amount of drag, and that's what slows us down.
Captain Kesterson has lowered the landing gear to prepare for a slow-speed pass. While the F-16 can fly at more than twice the speed of sound, low-speed controllability is just as important to those who fly it. As Captain Kesterson approaches Show Center, notice the paint scheme of the Fighting Falcon. It's an all-purpose camouflage specially designed to make the jet more difficult to spot in conditions ranging from bright sky to dull overcast.
Business end of the motor. All I'm checking here is just a general condition, making sure we don't have any holes burned through the protective layer of skin around the inside. Other side of the speed brake, obviously if only one side came out there, it would create a roll in the aircraft. So when these come out, they come out symmetrically, and that keeps the airplane from slowing down, from rolling while you're slowing down. Again, on the other side, chaff and flare modules go here. Videotape recorder, we were talking about that earlier. That's where ours is, and it'll basically sustain as many G's as we can, up to 9 G's for a sustained period of time. And then our 20mm cannon, 6,000 rounds a minute, and we carry about 500 rounds on the airplane, which basically gives us about 5 seconds of gun. It did a great job for us in the war. A few were shot down, but not many, and a lot of that had to do with the small size of the airplane. We were flying high altitude tactics, and the guys just couldn't see us from the ground. They didn't have any radars to see us with. They couldn't see us with their eyes, and so before they saw us or heard us, the bombs were already hitting the ground and we were on our way back home. When you get back, you step on the ground off the ladder and you just sort of go over and pat her on the missile rail and go, thanks, you know, and that was, and you know, almost did that every sortie. The neat thing about the F-16 is it fits like a glove, you know, and that's exactly the way the cockpit is. It's very compact, the way you sit in the airplane unconventionally, and it's just very, very comfortable airplane to fly. When our squadron deployed to the Gulf, it was 17.5 hours straight. So obviously it had to be pretty comfortable to keep guys alive for 17.5 hours in the airplane.
Seat's good, G-suit's good, trim's good, HUD's set. Cat 1, drift cutout set, altimeter set, HSI set.
When I roll out on the runway, you sort of get a little butterflies in your stomach and your heart starts pumping a little bit and you get a little shot of adrenaline. You get excited. That's what makes it sort of fun, you know. I think that's why guys like flying fighters.
Brake release, now.
Okay, full burner. Okay, looking for 80 knots, got it. Looking for 150. Got it. Leveling off. Gear lights out, and up we go.
Altitude.
Still going. Setting up for the triple. Okay, looking for the 3,000 foot line. 425 knots. There it is. Looking for 500 feet. There's 500. There's the airspeed. Set the power. And up. Unload. 1, 2, 3. Go for the high G.
Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up.
maneuver. Let's do it. All right.
Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Bingo, bingo.
I think folks really enjoy the show, and I remember one older lady in Richmond, Virginia, just after the war was over, and that was great. She called me over to the crowd line, the ropes, and basically all she could say is "God bless you," you know, for flying this airplane. And I was going, well, that's the first time I've heard that, but it was sort of a neat feeling to realize that people appreciate what we're doing, you know.
My name is Reinhard Schmidt. I'm a major in the German Air Force. My wing, I'm the ops officer in the wing staff for the wing. And we are here at Grissom with 2 tornadoes just because Grissom invited the German Air Force to participate, and we were very happy that we could follow this invitation. The aircraft you see here, it's called the Tornado. It's tri-national built by Germany, Great Britain and Italy, and because it's not so much known in the United States, it's the same as, for example, the F-111 or the F-15E Strike Eagle. The Tornado itself, it has 2 engines, also built tri-national, and they are optimized for good power in lowest level flying. The thing you are just pointing to, it's air-to-air refueling boom, which is retractable and would be normally retracted in flight and just put out for refueling. On the nose, right-hand side, you see a 27 millimeters Mauser system, 1 on each side, so 2 guns. We put 2 external tanks under the fuselage and 1 external tank under each wing. Each wing would be capable to mount on each side above the tank, on each side 1 AIM-9 Lima improved air-to-air missile for self-defense. To fly this plane, it's great. To fly it all, I think it's the most beautiful job you can have in the world. And then additionally, to be in such a community like the German Air Force is, I think it's the same in the US Air Force, it's just fantastic. But this aircraft, it's probably ugly as an aircraft, but as a weapon system, it's just fantastic.
I'm Major Tom Young, and I'm standing in front of an F-117 stealth fighter today here at Grissom Air Force Base, where we're participating in the 1992 Airshow. We're currently based out of Holloman Air Force Base with our stealth fighters. We recently made a move from the Nevada desert at Tonopah Test Range, where we've been stationed there for over 10 years. This airplane was conceived in the late 1970s. It first flew 1981 and became combat ready in 1983. The Air Force built this under a black program, which means it was not announced to the general public until 1989, when we announced that we had built 59 aircraft, and then displayed to them in 1990 at Nellis Air Force Base. Essentially, the airplane gets its stealth technology and its stealthiness from twofold. It's number one, the design. If you notice behind me, the aircraft is built with many faceted flat plane designs in there. There's no curved surfaces essentially in the aircraft. And basically what happens is a radar looking at the aircraft will have the energy bounce off it and deflect off into the atmosphere away from the radar operator that's on the ground expecting returned energy. That's only one part of the equation though. The other part of the equation is the skin around the aircraft. This is a metal aircraft, however it's wrapped with a material. It's kind of like a rubber latex, and it's a thin material, but what we call it RAM, radar absorbing material. And essentially what this does is literally receive the radar coming at the aircraft and does not release it back into the atmosphere. It holds it like a sponge would water, perhaps. With this combination, we can bring our radar cross-section, that's basically what a radar operator is concerned with when he's looking for aircraft, down to a minuscule or a minute number. As far as the general design of the aircraft, essentially it was built around the bomb bays. That was where the initial design was first conceived, and the bomb bays are located between the main landing gears. The doors swing down and you have two separate bays. They're about 20 feet long, 4 feet high into the aircraft. That's where we load up our bombs. And like I said earlier, we put essentially two 2,000-pound laser-guided bombs into those bays. So we can essentially hit two targets, or we can hit one target with two bombs. The aircraft design also includes a lot of off-the-shelf technology, and we took landing gear off the F-15, we took flight control systems off the F-16, and a few other aircraft to put it together real quickly. And then essentially with the computer technology as to how to make it fly, that was basically a last consideration. The first consideration was to make it stealthy. And everything you see on the aircraft, on the outside skin around it, as far as design, is to decrease the radar cross-section. When you have covers like the canopy has to go up and down, it basically overlaps on top of the rest of the aircraft. By making jagged edge and sawtooth design, you're increasing the stealthiness of the aircraft.
And now for the slow speed pass, the Stealth Fighter.
We have two infrared acquisition and detection systems. We have a turret, and we call that ball, which is located right underneath the cockpit, a turret. Essentially, these infrared acquisition systems allow us to find targets in the dead of the night, where operational we do all of our flying. And they have a resolution that's incredibly clear. We have a TV scope in the front, that produces the images that we're looking for as far as finding targets. And we can see cars going down the highways, we can see individual buildings, and as you get closer you can start to break out windows in buildings, air conditioner ducts, and essentially find the specific point on the building that you want, which helps us to have the precision bombing that we have. These infrared systems also have lasers in them that help designate that target, so when we let go of our bomb, essentially the bomb is just looking for the designated point on the ground where that laser energy is, and it flies to it. Looking back toward the exhaust area, you'll notice you don't see a discernible exhaust per se from conventional type aircraft. What we're really looking at as we look along the back side is about 11 feet of, it's actually a curved lip, and the exhaust is rotated out from behind the aircraft along that entire surface and upward. And what we're doing is we're dispersing heat, because anytime you generate heat on an aircraft, you're developing a more prominent signature also, and that's one of the things we want to avoid, is not only the radar cross-section but also the heat generation. So what we really have is we have an exhaust that expands across the entire back side of the aircraft, and it only sits about 4 to 5 inches high. Okay, so it's kind of like a long rectangle, and it also incorporates a little bit of space shuttle technology. There are ceramic tiles back there to help with the heat dispersion also. The airplane's very enjoyable to fly. You become more of a systems manager than you do a hands-on pilot. The airplane flies itself essentially. The throttles, the airspeeds, the altitudes, and the directions are all controlled automatically by the computers when we engage those. So essentially what I do is I monitor to make sure that the aircraft is operating normally to get me to the target area. When we participated in Desert Storm, we do not go supersonic. We are a subsonic aircraft, but again, if you can't be seen by radar, you don't need to go fast. We participated in over 1,200 sorties. Essentially, 42% of the strategic targets that were tasked by the Allied forces were covered by our aircraft. We deployed out of southwest Saudi Arabia, which required air refueling going into Iraq and also coming out of Iraq. So the missions were approximately 5 to 6 hours long. The tankers over here at Grissom were instrumental in supporting us. And in fact, we invited them over to Tonopah Test Range for a get-together this last summer of 1992 for just the handshakes and getting to meet them face to face. So it was a really nice reunion.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the stealth fighter coming in for a landing.
There is a mystique about the aircraft, and I believe a lot of it has to do with the radical concept that we tried to incorporate into the airplane. Essentially, it's a fighter aircraft. It has a lot of off-the-shelf technology in it, but on the other hand, it's a precision capability combined with the fact that you just absolutely cannot utilize radar against it makes it a viable weapon system unlike any we have in the inventory. It's designed to surgically remove point targets that are heavily defended, and essentially when you combine that with nighttime operations, you are completely invisible to the world. That is what makes it different than any other aircraft.
My name is Captain John Skinner, and I'm a C-130 pilot, Marine C-130 pilot, and I fly the C-130 for the Blue Angels, known as Fat Albert. Basically what we do with the C-130 during the demonstration show is try to impress on people how maneuverable and how adaptable and how versatile the C-130 is. You see a high-performance takeoff, you see an assault landing, and you see a high-speed low pass to kind of emphasize how quickly a C-130 can get in and out of places, and also the capabilities it can do. It can go into real short fields, and it can take off in a real short distance.
Here's an excellent photo opportunity of the C-130 taxiing down the runway. What a beautiful bird she is with her blue and yellow and white paint schemes.
Tim Aldridge, and I'm the flight mechanic for the Blue 30. It's nicknamed Fat Albert. And what we're doing here today is takeoff. And it's something that we perform at about 2/3 of the air shows. We unload the airplane entirely and keep all our the cargo we keep in the plane we'll store in a hangar somewhere. And we'll put 4 rocket thrust bottles on each side of the airplane. Got a gentleman over here now that's getting the hooks, the attach points for the bottle. He's getting those ready right now. He's sanding them down so we get a good continuity, a good check on the bottles and all. The bottles are being worked on over there, behind us, and when those are ready to be put on the airplane, like I said, we'll hang a bottle, 4 on each side of the airplane, and they provide about 1,000 pounds of thrust per bottle, so it's kind of like having another motor strapped to the airplane.
Are you ready?
Up.
All right, we're rolling in. Yeah. Okay, ready? Go.
Safety is always something we're concerned about when we're putting ordnance on the aircraft, so we keep people away. We have a lot of checks that we go through to ensure safety on this process here, and usually it's about a 3-hour evolution to get everything done. All the checks that have to be done, cleaning the hooks and the bottles and everything up takes a little bit of time, but hopefully we give ourselves enough time to fix anything that could go wrong while we're out here during the loading process.
I'm good.
Okay.
Go.
About how heavy are those? About 150 pounds like they are now, and after we burn them, they'll be about half that, probably even a little less. That's good. So it's a little bit of a strain to get them on there at first, but they're not too hard to take back off. They just get real hot. You got to let them cool off. These are the igniters we use to, actually they just ignite the bottles off. We fired 28 volt DC power through the wiring, and it ignites the gunpowder off, and it in turn lights the bottle. It's real simple, works real well. We'll go to about 125 knots down the runway, and then we'll rotate the aircraft about 40 degrees nose up, light the bottles off, and we'll get upwards of around 12 to 1,300 feet altitude by the time we level off. About 11 seconds. So it's a pretty good ride for a few moments. Out in the regular Marine Corps and some Air Force units use these bottles to get off of short runways, off of ice, things of that sort, where they need an extra, just extra thrust. That's what they're mainly used for. We do this here for show just to show the capabilities of the C-130 a little bit more than just your ordinary cargo hauler. We've got 4 motors out here, and they provide about 5,000 horsepower per motor. So we've got plenty of power for most every mission. We can carry up to about 175,000 pounds of gear.
Demonstrating the short field landing capability, they will touch down and immediately reposition the propellers to full aft, stopping the aircraft in 1,500 feet. You'll notice that not only can the aircraft stop quickly, but can actually taxi backwards. Ladies and gentlemen, with the stars and stripes flying proudly above the cockpit, the Blue Angel C-130, Fat Albert.
I personally get a lot more out of the air shows probably than the people that come to see the air shows, because it gives me an opportunity not only to go around and meet people from all over the country and all over the world, but for people from those places to get to meet me and just see that we're just regular folks. You know, I lived up the road here about 50 miles for 5 or 6 years when I was a kid, and it's really good for people to see that just the common average American kid can do something like this. I remember when I was a kid growing up, I used to think that people in the spotlight had to be special and things like that, but for me being here, it proves to a lot of people that really it just takes a lot of hard work to get where I'm at.
Back to the right, Lieutenant Commander Foley and Blue Angel number 5 is rolling. He'll accelerate his aircraft to 170 miles per hour and climb to an altitude of 50 feet. He will then roll his aircraft 360 degrees with the landing gear extended. The dirty roll on takeoff. Back to the right, Captain Switzer and Blue Angel number 6 is rolling. He'll execute a very low, precise transition as he accelerates his aircraft to 300 miles per hour. Let's watch as Captain Switzer pulls back on the stick to 6 times the force of gravity. Pointed vertically, he climbs to an altitude of 4,000 feet and rolls his aircraft 180 degrees onto his back. On takeoff and exits a flight line to the right.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Commander Randy Durkoff. I'm the events coordinator for the Blue Angels. By trade, I'm an A6 bombardier navigator coming out of Whidbey Island, Washington. I've been with the Blue Angels for about 2 years now. We basically have 3 phases to the show. We have the Diamond, which is flying 4 planes together in the graceful maneuvers. You have the opposing solo maneuvers, the high-performance aircraft, and then we put them all together for 6 aircraft, the Delta formation, and we do some graceful maneuvering with those guys. Well, the maneuvers are designed around maneuvers that are taught to training pilots prior to reaching the fleet. The maneuvers start out somewhere, the slowest one we do is 120 miles an hour, and the fastest one we do is about 650 miles an hour.
The Blue Angel Diamond will momentarily be making its approach from the right. In relatively slow speed flight, they will give you an opportunity to take a close look at that very minimum 36-inch wingtip to canopy separation that exists between these 4 aircraft. From the right, the Blue Angel Diamond.
The F-18 came into existence in the fleet in 1983, started out at Naval Air Station Lemoore, California. It's the first aircraft that we have as a multi-mission aircraft. It's a strike fighter and an attack aircraft, single-seat aircraft. The United States Navy flies a single-seat aircraft. The United States Marine Corps flies the 2-seat aircraft. It's very reliable. It's very dependable. It's very fast, very maneuverable. It's an excellent aircraft to use in the airshow environment.
I'm Brian Limer. I'm originally from Charleston, West Virginia, and I'm the crew chief here on the number 4 jet. This is an FA-18 Alpha. It's a single-seat fighter attack aircraft. Our gun has been removed and installed has been a 90-gallon smoke oil tank. That oil will be routed all the way on the back of the number 1 engine, and you'll get the oil coming out. At that time, it's burned, and that's what creates the smoke. This is kind of unique, too. All F-18s and all of our carrier aircraft will have what we call a tail hook, and our aircraft are still capable of laying aboard an aircraft carrier.
My name's James Stewart. I'm from Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. I'm a jet engine mechanic with the Blue Angels here. My primary job is the quality assurance representative inspector. It's a pretty good jet as far as maintenance-wise. It's set up to meet with the maintenance man or woman standards so that the jet can be fixed fast. For instance, I mean, there was one time, and I know for sure that we changed an engine in 52 minutes and got it up and got it on a check flight, and it still met the next air show. We like to put it as far as maintenance purposes wise that for 23 hours of the day that we own the airplane, and for 1 hour we let the pilots borrow it to take it flying. We have over 100 maintenance and support personnel with like 7 to 10 airplanes with 3 spares at home. Out of them 100 people, right around 35, 40 people go on the road with us. And out of them 35, 40 people, you probably have 12 to 13 actual wrench turners. When you work with such caliber people, it's really easy to get along with and really easy to get the job done.
From the right at 400 miles per hour, the 6 aircraft are approaching for the Delta Flat Pass. As they pass before, she should get a good look at the Delta set used by the 5 wingmen. The Blue Angel, fleur-de-lis. From the left, the Blue Angels, 1992.
Tally holds depth gun, you're right on line.
Copy.
Rancho 1 and 9 feet, go ahead, proceed southbound.
Okay, 3, you're wider than 2 is.
Okay, coming. Other setting's good for a few more seconds, and I'll be
one, surface winds 1304, rock and roll.
Coming right, just a bit.
Roger.